Hey yo, what is good, y'all? I'm Malcolm McFadden, creator of 615 Comics, and you're watching the Yo a Nerd podcast, y'all. And this is episode 25. So, before I even get started into everything, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. All right, every subscriber and every comment, every like helps the channel grow and reach a bigger audience. So, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. All right, y'all. So I got a great. I'm not even gonna, hold up, y'all. I got a great show. A lot has been going on. A lot has been going on. So there's a lot to talk about. So let's just get into it, bro. I got a great show for y'all, and we gonna start this off with the new Black Panther 60th anniversary special that just came out from Marvel, which I got right here. This was actually a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. It was a lot better than I thought it was gonna be with them, with what they've been doing with T'Challa previously in the Black Panther. I kind of was skeptical about what was gonna happen in this, but let's just get into it. All right. So this story talks a lot about what's going on, what's been going on with Black Panther, what's going on with him now. It's actually a very dope story. So it's like an anthology, but it's one complete story, just one complete story, but like different stories within this story, right? Let me fill you in. So if you don't remember, Casper Cole, who used to be the White Wolf, he is out looking for T'Challa. Because T'Challa, if you don't know, he's basically been exiled from Wakanda. A lot of stuff has been going on with T'Challa. He's been exiled from Wakanda. He was kind of going through like a vigilante phase, which was kind of cool to me. A lot of people basically said it was boring and it didn't really do nothing, which I could see that, but I kind of liked it. But he was going through his vigilante stage, and now he's kind of like missing. And Casper Cole is looking for him in this book, right? And so when he's looking for him, he goes to a bunch of different people. So he talks to Blue Marvel, Storm, and also Magneto. And he talks to them basically trying to figure out where T'Challa is, right? And then so each person gives their own little story of T'Challa. And my favorite was easily The Storm. It's actually great. Actually, the writers for this, Cody Ziegler, who was the writer for Miles, he wrote the part with Blue Marvel. The writer for Storm, who I always mess his name up, he also wrote the part for Storm, which is my favorite part. And Christopher Priest, who is the one of the OGs of Black Panther, one of the people who say he's like the one of the best writers of Black Panther. He wrote the last part with Magneto. Now, like I said, each hero gave like a time that they had with T'Challa. Like Blue Marvel gave his, Storm gave hers, and Magneto gave his, and it was still all one complete story. Which at the end you kind of see T'Challa come out and give, like, he did like this ode to Zorro. Like if you ever remember the Zorro movies, like a kid would see him and then he'd be like hidden, and he would hit him with like the shh, like cover his lips up and say shush. That's kind of what T'Challa does at the end here, and you kind of see Casper Cole find T'Challa, but it kind of sets the stage up for T'Challa's next era. Like, what's going to happen with him? He's been exiled from Wakanda. Like, how is he going to get back into Wakanda? Like, what's going to happen with him? So, I'm actually excited. The Ultimate Black Panther run is over with, so we're actually looking for something new with Black Panther. And I would love it if the writer for Storm took over Black Panther. What he did with this Black Panther in the Storm run, where it basically took Black Panther into like a savage part of Wakanda, a more mystical part of Wakanda, where even T'Challa was fighting like a dragon, and it also had other animals of like African mythology that was in it. So that was actually pretty dope to see. But this, yeah, I think especially what he's been doing with Storm, if he can do that with T'Challa, I think we're looking in for some really good T'Challa. Or maybe Cody Ziegler taking on some T'Challa. I really think the Storm writer would do the best. And sorry, I'm gonna butcher his name, so I'm refraining from saying it. But yeah, this was a great actual issue of Black Panther. It was actually really good. Trying to, my biggest problems with this is actually that it wasn't coming from T'Challa's point of view, right? We got all these characters talking about T'Challa and talking about their adventures with him, but I would have loved if it was just T'Challa, like adventure with T'Challa's adventures, them going into that. You feel me? Like that would have been a lot better for me, like going into like his thinking and from his point of view instead of other people's point of view who are looking at T'Challa, if you get what I'm saying. But this was actually great. Like I said, the Storm Rider. He also wrote Akugan, The Brutalizer of Gods, which was a great book. You definitely should pick that up. But this Black Panther 60th anniversary was really good in my opinion. And whew, it's a lot better than I thought it was, but we definitely need some more Black Panther, and I think we should definitely dive in some more of the mystical stuff. That's what I liked about Ultimate Black Panther, us diving into like the mystical parts of Wakanda, which I think we should definitely do more of that going forward. But the 60th anniversary of T'Challa was way better than I thought it was going to be. I think you definitely should pick it up. It's a great story, a lot of great writers, and they did a great job. I loved it how it just went all together, like the different artists, the different writers, but it was all just one continuous story that just went together and flowed. Phenomenal, phenomenal. You gotta pick that joint up. But I definitely wanted to start this pod out talking about some comics. I'm ready to get into some non-comic stuff. Is still around comics, but it's still more so surrounding comics than just talking about comics, if you get what I'm saying. So, man, you know, I'll be scourging, I'll be all over Twitter looking for Twitter beefs, different people's talking about stuff in the comic book realm, and there's been a couple I've seen that are kind of weird to me and kind of dumb, but we're going to talk about them. So we're going to do a little versus segment. So right now, the first versus I got is writers versus artists. All right, now this one is weird, but it's not. It's actually understandable. So I saw a post on Twitter where it was basically like artists don't need writers. Writers need artists. Like an artist can write the story and also draw the story, so they don't need writers. And it started this whole uproar and everything on Twitter. And so I think it's just a very dumb conversation, but let's get into it. For me personally, for my 2 cents, I think it's a perfect marriage. I don't get why we're arguing. It's a perfect marriage. It's a perfect blend, bro. It's like peanut butter and jelly, ham in the burger. You feel me? Ketchup and fries, honey mustard and chicken tenders. It's like the perfect blend, bro. It's like football Sundays. Like it's just great together. You feel me? So I don't understand it because comics are a visual medium. Yes, they're a visual medium, but it's still a story. So you have the writer for the story, and the artist that brings that writer's story to life. It's literally like a perfect marriage. Like as a comic creator, as a writer myself, I love it. Like I wish I can draw my own comics, but it's so dope when I send my ideas out to an artist and he adds like his vision to it and his fluff because he's an artist. He's the visual artist in it. I'm the writer. You feel me? So, but he adds his visual flavor to it. You feel me? So that brings my story to life. That he may even add more to it that brings it even more to life. That may be more appealing to the readers because he's the visual artist. But and I also think that artists also need writers to. Well, it depends. If you're an artist that can actually write the stories, then by all means do that. But I think artists also need writers to challenge them and give them challenges with the artwork and stuff like that, but also give them a story to kind of go along with and to kind of like they kind of bring that to life. They paint it, you feel me? Like they build it, they sculpt it and bring it out, you feel me? So I think it's really a perfect marriage, and I think it's really dumb that we have these arguments. Like, why are we having this argument? It's comic books, bro. Like writers could just write novels and artists could just be drawing pictures and stuff like that. Then when you bring them together, that's what you have, a comic book. That's what makes comic books so beautiful. Like, it's not just a story, it's not just the artwork, it's coming together. Like some of the best comic books is where the art and comic match. Like for instance, Philadelphia, Sean Alexander and who's the artist, and Rodney Barnes, who's the writer. Rodney Barnes is like the horror guru. He's great when it comes to horror, right? And then Sean Alexander's artwork has like this dark tone, this dark feel to it, like this kind of like just like you feel like you're engulfed into a scary movie. Like you feel like it's a full moon out, it's nighttime, and you just rolled up on this abandoned building that some that is supposed to be abandoned, but you see a light flicker on the inside. Like Sean Alexander artwork perfectly embodies that. And then Rodney Barnes' writing kind of puts you into the kind of pulls your fears out, kind of makes you really think about your fears, your inner dark, your secrets, and kind of, especially with the characters, he dives into the characters that are going through these horrific things. So, and it kind of makes you put yourself in it. So They have a perfect blend of writing and artwork where Rodney Barnes can have these incredible stories, but the artwork kind of brings that to life and kind of engulfs you in it and kind of sets the tone, brings everything together, blends it all together. So that's why I hate this conversation of writers versus artists. But in the most part, artists do have upper hand because, like I said, they can write a story and draw the story if they want to. But it's still a perfect marriage, bro. It's a perfect marriage, man. And I think it's just dumb we're having this conversation about it. But Twitter is the place for dumb conversations, in my opinion. But next up, this one is funny. Comic book fans versus fans. So this one is crazy because it's like somebody put this out and it was like, can you be a comic book fan without reading comics? This is one of the words. This is one of the questions that started this. And that's the dumbest question I've ever heard. I don't care what nobody says. I don't care what anybody says, but there's no such thing as a dumb question. Asking, can you be a fan of comics without reading comics? You just already answered your question. How I can't be a fan of movies if I didn't watch the movie. You feel me? Like, you can't be a fan of comics if you don't read comics. If you don't consume the medium, then you're not a fan of the medium. If you're not partaking in the medium, you're not a fan of the medium. That whole point of being a fan is partaking in it. You feel me? Like Wizards fans watch Wizards games. Eagles fans watch Eagles games. You're not a fan if you're not partaking. Now, the better question is, what this conversation really spawns from, is can you be a fan of a character without reading the comic book? And I'm here to tell you, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. So, like, if you are, okay, let's for instance, there's a certain heroes where this is where this is meaningful for. So like Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, I feel like they have enough movies, cartoons, they have enough content for you to be a fan of them and never actually reading a comic book. All right, you can easily be a fan of Superman. You watch his movies, got his shirts, all that. You can easily be a fan and never read the comic books. Now for a character like let's say let's say a character like who has no content at all. Let's say Duke Thomas. Duke Thomas has, well, he's in Bat Wheels, but he doesn't have a lot of content. So for you to be a fan of Duke Thomas, you actually have to read the comics because you're not going to know nothing about him if you don't read the comics. So you get what I'm saying? So you can't be a fan of a character that you don't know anything about. So with Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, you can kind of know about them without actually reading the comics. But here's the problem. Here's where the whole thing goes out and where all the nerds get all mad. It's when you non-comic book readers come on Twitter talking like y'all be reading comics to people that actually read comics. Y'all just be saying outlandish stuff. Oh my God, even the recast T'Challa stuff. Oh my God, for y'all that never read a comic book and just come to Twitter talking like y'all been reading it for y'all whole lives. That's crazy. That is crazy. Like, you can't say to these people like, bro, you can't say to people like, oh, blah, 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 I know all about T'Challa, blah, blah, but I've never read a comic book. Two people that read his comics. Two people that been there with him shooting in the gym from the jump. To people that was there when he first beat up Fantastic Four. You feel me? To the Jungle Action comics. You can't talk to those people and try to act like you know more about it than those people. That's where the disconnect lies. Is y'all be trying to act like y'all know more when y'all don't. And on the other side of that, comic fans is just bullies and can be dicks. It's like, that's just be honest with you. We can be. When people come into our space and try to tell us about our characters, we can totally be a dick. We're always like, oh, but I read the comics. I got the entire series right here. Like, we can be like that, you feel me? So, like, I see both sides of it, but you can't be a fan of comics without reading comics. Like, you just got to. And there's certain characters you can't really be a fan of them if you've never read a comic book because all their content is in comic books. Like, I think like Black Panther, since we're using him and we're talking about him a lot, I think you can love Black Panther, but it's very hard for you to be a fan of Black Panther if you've only seen the movie, or be a fan of T'Challa if you only seen the movie, especially since he dies at the start of the second one. But like, there's years of content for Black Panther and T'Challa, and you've only gotten a movie of it. So like, yeah, sometimes you actually do got to read the comics to be a fan of that character. That's just how it is, bro. That's just how it is. I'm not can't be like a fan of, Ahsoka Tano. I never watched nothing Star Wars at all. You feel me? So like, that's just how it is, bro. And I totally see the fight. I totally see it. And I think sometimes us as comic fans, we can definitely be dicks. But some of y'all that don't be reading comics can just be dumb. So you feel me? So that's basically what I feels about that side of it. You feel me? So we're gonna move on to something. We're gonna go out of the verses, go out of the whole internet dramas and everything. But as I find more, I will definitely be reporting to y'all, because nerd drama is hilarious, and there's been quite a bit of it, quite a bit of it, especially in Black History Month. That's crazy. But let's move on. Next topic I definitely want to talk about is the Spider-Man noir movie, with Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage. First off, I like that they're putting out a black and white version and then a color version. I'm definitely gonna watch the color version. I might check out the black and white version, but the color version is for me. You feel me? But the Spider-Man noir looks good. And to be honest about this, I know very little about Spider-Man noir. Very little. And then so that's the type of projects I like. Like, I want to kind of go into this project blind and just see it and not have my like nerd things that make me mad at it and stuff like that, and just kind of go into it as a fan. But at the same time, I kind of want to read up on and kind of do my if you don't know now you know videos where I basically hit people up to what's going on, and I think I might do that for this one. I did want to go into a blind, but it's Spider-Man, so I probably want to read that stuff anyway. But the Spider-Man Noir trailer looks good. It looks great. I can't wait for it. I love that they're putting out 2 versions of it. I'm excited for this. I'm excited to see where this goes. When we get different versions of Spider-Man, like, that would be dope if we got like anthologies of live action different versions of Spider-Man, because there's billions of Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse. I heard they were working on a Spider-Punk animated movie or series or something like that. So I think, especially with the popularity of Miles, I think we're really going to get more and more Spider-Man stuff. So just outside of like Peter Parker. So I'm definitely excited to see this. I think I'm gonna do a little bit of research on it so I can kind of report back and tell y'all, the people that may not be fans of it, to like get to know what's going on, and so they can kind of watch the show, not blindly if they don't want to. Yeah, but I'm excited to see where Spider-Man Noir. The trailer looks great. The trailer looks phenomenal. So we'll see what happens with that. But moving on to my next topic, this one kind of goes off the comic things and just kind of something I saw. There's this study that says 90s babies' brains work differently, right? And it works differently because the video games we used to play, bro. Just because how hard our video games were, our brains just work differently, because our video games used to torture the shit out of us. So our brains are just mapped to go through that trauma, right? But for real, the study was saying, like, in our games, they were so hard and we had to figure things out so much that our brains kind of learn to figure things out, learn to like lose and then try again. Like with ours, like one thing it said with how we couldn't save our games, like you had to make it to a certain point to save, bro. Like I remember leaving the house being like, don't turn this game off, don't turn it off, because I gotta get to this point to save it, and then coming home and your mother done turned the game off for one of your siblings. But yeah, like you also didn't have walkthroughs, you didn't have like a lot of maps. A lot of games you just had to walk around and figure out where things were. You had to remember where things were. Like there weren't so many fly back to this point. Like you had to actually walk back to a certain point, you feel me? Like even the Spider-Man games today are way easier than they used to be, bro. Like with this, I mean not Spider-Man games, Pokemon games. With the Pokemon games, they're way easier than they used to be, with the whole like your whole team gets experience points when you fight. Back then you had to like put one weak Pokemon first, take them out, then replace them with a strong Pokemon so they both get the experiences. Like yeah, our games in the 90s were crazy. They were hard, but they made us better, bro. Like that struggle we had to go through with them games, like they said that made our brains wired to just work differently, work out solutions, work out problems, you feel me? Because a lot of them games was definitely just problem solving, that figure out how to get past this. And it probably taught us how to deal with our anger. A lot of controllers were broken though to figure out that. But for real though, like yeah, they say 90s babies, our brains are like just wired different because of how hard our games were and how much they tortured us, which is crazy because we better for it. We are so much better for it, bro. Like they will never know the struggles of some of our games. Like the all y'all got auto save. Everything happens, y'all save it. Y'all complete something that saves. Like at point in the game, bro, you had to get to a certain point to save. Like then sometimes you didn't always have power ups and stuff like that. Like man, yeah, them 90s games was crazy. Which also brings me to another topic with gaming. What happened to the games that came out for the movies? Those was fire. Y'all remember like the Lord of the Rings, the Twin Towers game, and the Return of the King game? The Twin Towers was my one, where you could be like Legolas, you could be Aragorn, you could be Gimli, and you could be Gandalf, and then you could level each person up to. I remember Legolas was my guy, and you can get like the 3 arrows if you leveled up. You can get powerful arrows and stuff like that. The Star Wars game, the Star Wars Revenge of the Sith game, bro, that was fire, man. None of y'all would be able to see me in at the end of the game where you can just battle with the when you just do Jedi fights, and then none of y'all can see me. If I got Anakin or Mace Windu, none of y'all can see me. None of y'all can see me. I'm taking challengers on. Let's get it started. But yeah, the Revenge of the Sith game was fire. Um, the Superman Returns game where it was kind of boring, but it was still kind of fun flying around at the end after you beat the game as Superman. But they definitely need to make a new Superman game. We needs one. The streets need one. Free roaming Superman game, fire. But bro, I remember the action movies used to have a game with them. I remember the Hulk movie had a game with it. Like whatever happened to the games coming with the movies? Like those was so dope, bro. Like I wish we can go back to that. And then I mean the games weren't always the hardest or the greatest of games, but they were still good. Like, man, the Twin Towers game is still fire. I really wish they didn't bring back these action games for the movies. Like, we need those back. But I'm gonna continue on off of the games, and we're gonna go on to shows. There is a show coming out right now, the Darth Maul show, bro. The Darth Maul show is coming out, and if you don't know, Darth Maul show is basically like the same thing as Clone Wars, and it's taking place right after Clone Wars, where Darth Maul basically is trying to build this whole crime syndicate to rival the Empire and go against the Empire, bro. And then so you basically takes place right after Clone Wars, and you follow Darth Maul, and I can't wait for this series, man, because Darth Maul, everybody loved Darth Maul after the Phantom Menace. Everybody loves it. His character was done well in everything they put him in, whether it be Rebels, the end of Clone Wars. Everything they put Darth Maul in has been fire, and I can't wait for this show. I'm super hyped for it, bro. Like the trailer is not too much to it, I'll be honest with you, but I like that. Sometimes they show way too much in these trailers, but I can't wait for the Darth Maul show. But as of right now, that's one of the main shows I'm definitely looking forward to, and also I'm looking forward to that Mandalorian and Grogu movie. That looks to be really good, and I already love the Mandalorian, and they definitely made this movie to get that money from them toys up. They're gonna get mad Grogu toys out, and they already probably made mad money from that, and they gonna capitalize off it. I wish I could see how much they make from just toys and merchandise with Star Wars, like how much of that compared to the movies. You feel me? I would love to see that. But yeah, definitely be on the lookout for the Darth Maul show. I don't know when it's coming out, but I can't wait for that. But moving on to kind of round out this episode 25. First off, thank y'all for watching this episode of Yo a Nerd, episode 25. And like I said, like, comment, and subscribe. And also, if you're gonna comment, I'm down with the arguments. If you don't like something I said, please let me know, because we can argue about it in the comments. We can go back and forth. If you like something I said, we can talk about it in the comments. We can have a little powwow, you feel me, in the comments, and talk about even if you like it. So please like, comment, and subscribe to Yo a Nerd. All right. And tell your friends about me. But I want to wrap this kind of out talking about comics and comic book topics. So we got the new initiative of DC, a new line of comics for DC coming out, which is A whole bunch of different stuff. They got Deathstroke, Lobo, basically nobody black. But they got a whole lot of comics coming out, right? And then so they're really aiming for this to be very new reader friendly. And that is something I think DC and Marvel really need to lean into, because people have a really hard time jumping in some of these comics, bro. And even as a comic reader who follows along, like, yeah, sometimes it's hard. Like, you jump into a story and it's a character coming off uh another story that came off another story, you feel me? So like, or coming off a big event, to where sometimes with the thing that's happening, a lot has happened for it to get to that point, and you kind of have to know what happened. So kind of like the Black Lightning series. The Black Lightning series was a great series, but I would never point a new reader onto that, because there's so much that led up to that, for the reason why we're even here, why this is even happening, why this is even important right now. There's so much that has happened to get to that point in Black Lightning. With, if you don't really know what had happened, then this series wouldn't be as good. But if you did step into it, it still would be a good series. It's still a great Black Lightning series talking about him and his family, but it still wouldn't be as good. So I think that DC making things more new reader friendly would be great. We've already seen that with the Ultimate Universe was new reader friendly in a way, but really the Absolute Universe is fully new reader friendly. So, and that's been doing great. So I think definitely leaning into new reader friendly is smart, and I don't see why they haven't been thinking about that. Like, I know y'all have a long fan base, long term fans, you feel me, and a big fan base, but you need to try to get these new readers. And I think this new initiative is definitely a good way for people to just being able to jump onto, like the Deathstroke series that I'm excited for. They said you can just easily jump onto this. Like, there will still be stuff from back in the day, but you can just jump onto this and start here. And that's what I love. But also with this whole new line of DC Comics, one thing I saw that isn't surprising to me and other people is that there were no black people involved. There's no black characters in this new initiative whatsoever. None. Like, none, bro. Like, and it just amazes me that we always talk about black heroes gotta sell this to get books, but there's a lot of people on this whole new line that probably not even gonna sell good, that just got ongoings that we already know not gonna sell good, that got ongoings. But us as black people must, we must rely on the sales. We must rely on the sales to get new books. You feel me? Even if we do good sales, we gotta get better sales to get new books. You feel me? So that's pretty dumb to me. But with going on with this, that kind of leads into what I want to talk about with. We all know what's going on with the black heroes. Like I just said, with DC not using the black heroes, really underused them, and it's kind of apparent at this point, to where we have the February exclusive, and also calling them discrimination comics, where basically we're just saying that only in February is where they push out their black heroes, and that's definitely looking to be true, especially with this new initiative. We just seen them push out Static in the KO crossover, which I want to talk about that right now. They pushed out Static, and in that book, they had this big old thing with a whole bunch of heroes. Plus, Static was like, find out this continues in Titans 32. And everybody's like, oh, it's Static joining the Titans. It's Static joining the Titans. Oh my God. Then Titan 32 has come out. And ain't nobody talking about it. Why? Because there's no Static. There's no sign of Static in the book. There's no sign of Static will be in a book ever. You feel me? So everybody was hyped like, oh, maybe Static will be in the Titans book. No. They kind of just threw him out for that KO and then nothing after that. You feel me? And it's very disheartening, because I know we all know that Joe Illich, who is one of the big time writers for the new DC Milestone Instant, has been writing a lot of Milestone stuff as of late. He is trying to get to 10K, 100K in sales for Static, so they don't have a reason not to give us a Static book. In which I love that, y'all. I love that. But it kind of sucks that's where we are. That we're hoping for these big numbers in hopes to get a book from a very popular black character. You feel me? A character that, if they made a movie, probably would make billion easily, I think. You feel me? So that kind of sucks that we're still in this hope stage where we're hoping for more. We're like, bro, we gotta get this large number just to hope, just to ask the question, why aren't we getting more Static when we already are asking that and we should be getting more? So it's very disheartening. It sucks, and it looks like there is no Static coming afterwards, because if we're asking for a new Static book, then that means that there may not be plans for it right now. Which really sucks and kind of leads into, this was like 3 topics rolled into one for real, which kind of leads into my next topic of this. We need to get Milestone away from DC. Milestone gotta get away from DC, bro. Like, I understand DC gets eyes on them, blah, 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 but what's the point of eyes if there's nothing to look at? You feel me? We're not seeing nothing. We're not getting these characters. Like, DC kind of seems to have like a holdover Milestone. I wish Milestone was completely independent, was like Image Comics, so we can actually get these stories, actually dive into this world, and then not have to worry if we're going to get more. You feel me? So it just feels like we need to free Milestone. I don't know how that works. I need like Jay-Z to call up his friends or something and buy Milestone. You feel me? Like, we need something. Somebody get Tyler Perry on the phone. Now, he can't write nothing and do nothing for Milestone. He got to stay away from it. But his money could definitely help. But I'm just saying, bro, like, we got to get Milestone away from DC, man. So we can actually get these stories and not have to DC holding they or lingering over like, oh, we gotta get this amount of sales to get some static, you feel me, or get some amount of sales to get some hardware, who's already a great character that needs to be talked about more, you feel me. But yeah, that's just how I feel on things. I think we need to get Milestone away from DC somehow, because there's no reason why we shouldn't be getting more static content, y'all. So that's what I got to say on topic. That's what I got to say about all those topics. That is the end of this episode. My mouth is dry. I need some water. But that's the end of this episode of Yo a Nerd. This is episode 25. And once again, I want to thank y'all for everybody that supports the channel. Everybody supports me and what I do with comic book creating and creating this content. Thank y'all for supporting. Oh, before I even head out, just to round out the Milestone thing, if we are looking for representation, DC ain't the place to go. I feel like I'm going to have to say this every podcast or every time I step into a video or whatever. If we're looking for representation, DC is definitely not the place to go. We already know that. Marvel does an okay job, but they're still not the place to go if we're looking for real representation. There's a lot of indie creators out here that are making more than just superhero comics, that are making stuff outside of superhero comics. A lot of big ones are Stephanie Williams, Rodney Barnes are some of the big names, but there's also names like Concrete Comics, Wise Air Comics, Godhood Comics, Impound Comics, doing big things in the indie scene and giving us representation and wanting to give more representation because they are also black and these characters represent them too. So I think we definitely, instead of always crying about what DC and Marvel aren't giving us, we need to champion the people that are actually giving us representation, that are actually working hard every single day, giving their hard-earned money to give us representation. And instead of trying to just funnel our money to a company that might give us representation. And that's just how I feel about that. Support your indie comics, y'all. This has been another episode of Yo a Nerd. Please, like I said, like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and tell your friends about me. And please engage with the content, bro. When I do these podcasts, I'm not just talking to talk to myself. I will kind of like start a conversation, start a dialogue. Let's talk about writers versus artists. Let's talk about comics versus comic fans. Let's talk about T'Challa. Let's talk about also recast T'Challa. Let's talk about all these different things, bro. Just engage with me, and I will engage back. I try my best to engage with all the comments, you feel me, that I see. So I've been trying to get out here for like the past 5 minutes. So thank y'all for watching Yo a Nerd. Please tell your friends about me, and I will be back, y'all. Peace.